Good morning, everybody. My name is Barry Schwartz, and this is the Search Buzz video recap. Today is Friday, July 2nd, and this is the search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable at SERoundtable.com. A lot to discuss, tremendous amounts of stuff. Yesterday, July 1st, Google announced the July core update, and we're seeing tremendous amounts of changes there early on. Also, earlier this week, they released part 2 of the Google spam update. We saw also ranking fluctuations between the spam update and the July core update. Google told us that MUM went live, and so much more. So stay tuned. And of course, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Loud Interactive. Check them out at loud.us. Thank you so much for sponsoring. It's a Chicago-based SEO firm led by Brett D. Payne. Okay, so this July core update is live. It went live yesterday, started rolling out, I think, mid-afternoon. Google announced it at 12 p.m. exactly, so noon Eastern time yesterday, July 1st. It was the second portion of the June core update, and give you some perspective. The June core update kind of rolled out slow, and it was felt, but it rolled out slow. This July core update, it seems like within 12 hours or so, people started to really take notice. Hopefully the crown's not too annoying. Anyway, sorry, I figured I'd get creative and instead of putting logos behind me. Any event, so I'm looking at my notes over here, so I apologize. But basically, we had a lot of updates, and I'll post a little graphic of the updates. We had in April, we had the product reviews update, then we had the June core update on June 2nd, which rolled out through June 12th. Then we had the Predator update, which is not in the graphic, but it's the June 10th update, affected probably very few sites. Then the page experience update started on June 15th, 2 or 3 days after the June core update rolled out. And that's gonna roll out, the page experience update is gonna roll out through the end of August, so we have this overlapping everything else. Then we had 2 spam updates, one on June 23rd, and then the second one on June 28th. They ran out only on those days. And then finally, we had this July core update on July 1st. So within a 30-day period, we had June core update, Predator update, page experience update, spam update 2, and July core update. So 6 confirmed updates. We also had some unconfirmed updates, I think 2 or 3, all in that 30-day period as well. So lots going on. Now, we'll get more into the spam update a little bit later, but basically, we're seeing a tremendous amount of chatter in the SEO industry. A lot of people saying they recovered, or they got worse, or they got better. As you would expect from any update, we saw this, and these are core updates, and core updates are basically site overall quality stuff, and rank, and how Google defines relevancy, and so forth. So again, there's the whole pitch. You can't really do anything after you get hit by a core update, but you can. It's a long-term process. It takes several months. You have to keep improving your website, yada, yada. Most of the tools that have been updated already as of this morning are showing significant changes. SEMrush is almost off the charts at 9.4, which is a core level status like we've seen. SERP metrics, Alguru, Advanced Web Ranking, AccuRanking, I'm sure Rank Ranger, and the other ones are going to show updates as well. So this was a massive update, so keep that in mind, and it was big. Now, part 2 of the spam update was released on June 28th. That June 28th update rolled out only on June 28th, although took a whole day, and Pacific time maybe rolled into 29th in terms of Eastern time. It's just the second part. It's obviously a global change that affects both web and image results, like Jenny Sullivan said, and there was chatter. The tracking tools did kind of show some changes there, but nothing as significant as well. So as well as the previous spam update, which was on the 23rd. Again, it's a spam update. It targets specifically spam stuff. Google would not say what type of spam stuff. Then on June 30th through July 1st, I reported on lots of different chatter in the SEO community. I thought maybe it was delay result of the spam update. Not sure. Or maybe it's signs of the July 1st core update that was rolling out that Google didn't confirm until noon. Of course, Google's going to say, no, it didn't start rolling out until noon. So whatever the chatter you saw on June 30th was probably related to something else. In any event, there was a lot of chatter on June 30th as well in terms of a Google update, unconfirmed. So this week was very busy. June 28th, spam update. June 30th around, some unconfirmed update. And July 1st around noon, the July 1st, July 2021 core update. Now, also Google told us that for the first time they have now started using MUM. MUM was announced several weeks ago. It's a multitask unified model, and it basically is being used for the first time according to Google specifically to identify 800 different variations of vaccine names in more than 50 different languages in a matter of seconds. So again, understanding language and processing that and so forth. And Google's going to be using it in a lot more ways in the future, but this is the first case of how they're using it. And Google did promise us they'll tell us when it's being used, and now it's being used there. John Mueller said something very interesting this week that I don't think anybody really picked up on, but basically the page experience update does not have whitelists. But basically, John Mueller said on Twitter on June 28th, basically he goes on, he's talking about the page experience update, and he said, as far as I know, there are no lists of exceptions for the page experience update. Now, to give you some history, exception list or whitelist are basically a list that Google uses to say these sites don't apply to these algorithms or these types of filters. And it's most common with Safe Search, where Safe Search says this site is an adult list, this is an adult site, it has a list for adults, or maybe this site has been flagged as adult, but really it's not an adult site, so we're going to remove it from that list. Now, Google has said in the past they do have general concepts of whitelists, but not necessarily for like main algorithm updates like core updates or Panda and so forth. And Google specifically said there are no whitelists for Panda or Penguin. But they do have exception lists around like Safe Search and so forth. So keep that in mind. There is no specific whitelist for the page experience update. One post that really got people's attention was that John Mueller kind of hinted or kind of straight out said that if you are seeing a lot of messages in Google Search Console under the coverage report for crawled, currently not indexed, that status, that error, it might be a sign that your site has some quality issues that you want to result in. Ori Zibelstein basically brought it up to John Mueller, and John Mueller's like, you can't force pages to be indexed, which he normally says. It's normal that we don't index all pages, okay? It's not an issue with that page. It's more of a site-wide issue when Ori basically specifically asked about the crawled currently not indexed status. If you're seeing them, is there an issue? And then he basically said, it's not an issue specifically with that page, but with the overall site. It's more of a site-wide issue. He said creating good site structure and making sure the site is of highest quality possible is essentially the direction you should be going to resolve those issues, which is very interesting. So something to take a look at there. Very good thread there. Google's John Mueller also said in a video last week that if you are, writing something that deserves accented characters, like John Mueller's last name, I think over the U, there might be like 2 dots. But most people just write John Mueller without the 2 dots, but some people write it with. So which one should you use? And he said if people are searching for, usually you should probably use the proper one with the dots, but if people are searching for without, then you can use both variations, and that's perfectly fine. So keep that in mind with accents, and you probably should use both. Google released some cool documentation this week, a new documentation around how HTTP status codes, network errors, and DNS errors actually impact Google search. Check out that document, really, really useful. Also, Google vastly updated the redirects page from 1 paragraph or so to several paragraphs, and telling you basically how redirects actually impact Google search as well. So definitely take a look at that. There are even some little drop about crypto redirects, which is a term Google used internally forever, but now they're kind of publishing that out there, which Google has published before, but the SEO community is having fun with that. Newzdash, John Giada's company, is reporting that Google has now shown over 12% of the top stories carousel on mobile to go to non-AMP results. And that's just going to increase and increase. I think this morning I saw 13%, and that's going to increase as Google continues to show more non-AMP pages in the top stories carousel, and as publishers remove their AMP URLs from their websites. Karen Linden released a poll this week asking how many people actually learn SEO. And this is part of the Search Engine Land mentorship program that we're running. Definitely sign up if you want to be involved. It's free and trying to help people out. There's lots of SEO mentorship programs out there as well, some for women and women in tech and some for other people. But we figured why not join the group and help as much as we can. Not that I'm mentoring, I don't think I am. It's going to be practitioners that are actually mentoring. Anyway, back to the poll. Basically, yes, how did you initially learn to do SEO and PPC? And 77.4% said they learned hands-on, meaning they actually got their hands dirty, whereas 2.2% said they took classes, 9.8% said they had somebody mentor them, and 10.7% said they did do your own courses. So yeah, do it yourself was the way it was done back in the old days, and it still seems to be the way people do it. Bing search is actually launched. If you go to Bing and do a search and you hover your mouse over the search toolbars, it actually will either show you colored overlays or monochrome overlays, which is pretty cute. Nice to see. Also, Bing, actually, if you search in certain areas, they have a language tab. The language tab, basically, I'm in New York, a lot of people speak Spanish. It says, do you want to show language results in Spanish, which is pretty cute. I'll show you a screenshot of that as well. Google Ads will be deprecating part of broad match modifier for keywords at the end of July. That means that Google will be deprecating that. That means you will no longer be able to create new BMM, like broad match modifier keywords, with the plus keyword notation. There's a lot of information around this, so if you're using that heavily, definitely take a look at that blog post on SEOroundtable.com. And Google's tightening the policies around financial ads in the UK. I know they tightened a lot of policies around advertiser verification over the years or so, specifically in January of this year. But now in the UK, you're gonna have to actually verify that you're allowed to do financial ads in the UK starting August 30th, and it will be enforced starting September 6th. So if you are doing financial ads in the UK, you definitely wanna take a look at that. Google has now, I think, believed to be fully has retired the link units in AdSense. Google said one of the last things to go is to remove the fixed size link units from the AdSense interface, and that has been done. So the link units, which were one of the original link unit ad units in AdSense, is fully gone, which is kind of sad. Google Merchant Center, where you can do Google Shopping, says they kind of like relax the policy around insufficient payment information. So basically, they used to require you to show what payments you accept on your whole entire site before you get to the checkout page. Now you only have to show it on the actual checkout page. The cart page has to show it, but not every page. And finally, the industry is terribly mourning the loss of Russ Jones, who, brilliant mind in the SEO community, passed away unexpectedly last week, taking a nap. And he has a wife. He has 3 young daughters. He was, I think, 39. I've interviewed him in the past. I've spoken with him in the past. Just sad, super sad. There is a memorial and so forth that you can check out. I wrote about it on the site, so definitely search for Russ Jones, and you'll find the information. Everyone, hope you have a safe, healthy, happy weekend. It is July 4th this weekend, so I don't know if I'm writing on July 5th. I think that's when we're celebrating it. Anyone have a great weekend. I'll see you guys next. Be safe, be happy, and I'll see you guys. BY.